how did we do it? So the first thing I do with all of my clients, for the most part, all of them, is start in a phase where you're getting lean, you're getting healthy, you're making sure your blood work is extremely favorable. So it's not really talked about as much as I think that it should be. Is one, the leaner you are, your body's a lot more anabolic, it's easier to put on muscle, but most importantly, when you're growing, when you're eating in a surplus, you're lifting, you're growing muscle, your body grows fat the exact same way that it grows muscle, almost at the same rate. There's some variables there, and that's very circumstantial, but for the most part, you're going to grow fat in the same way that you grow muscle. Now, the more favorable your body fat percentage is, mathematically, you will grow less fat. So someone who's 8% body fat, as they're growing muscle, if they're growing an equal amount of fat per body fat percentage as someone who's, let's say, 20%, the 20% person is going to grow way more fat and less muscle. So ideally, if you're going to push into a grow phase, you want to be lean, you want to be healthy, you want your body working optimally, and you also want your daily caloric expenditure high enough that you can consume as much protein and carbohydrates as you need. And especially for natural athletes, having the right kind of fats and the amount of fats that you need for proper hormone production and regulation is extremely important. So with that being said, the first thing I did was move into a cut phase. I was kind of pudgy, kind of fat, had a high, probably the highest body fat percentage that I've ever had. So the first thing I did was focus on getting lean. And so couldn't lift a lot, so I did mostly cables, cable machines. I had a 5-day split, took 2 days off a week. Basically did like a push-pull off until I could do legs, and then I would do push-pull legs off, push-pull off. And so again, another thing that's not super talked about is people think that they're going to lose muscle during a cut if they bring their calories too low or do too much cardio. Your muscle, it's so hard to lose actual muscle tissue. What really happens is the muscle deflates. So you have all these muscle cells. Imagine they're like little balloons, and they deflate as you're cutting and losing weight, and you're depleting your body. Your fat cells are doing the same thing. It's how you're burning fat. It's how you're getting rid of fat. Your muscle cells don't just disappear. They're just all deflated. So as you reintroduce food, carbohydrates, a little higher volume training, those balloons, those muscle cells are going to start to fill back out. Your body, your muscle comes back to life. So for one, unless you're at an insane deficit and you're not eating enough protein and you're not lifting enough, you're not going to be losing muscle. I did have some muscle atrophy, some muscle wasting on my left side, but that was due to tearing my tricep about 4 months before my surgery. And then that was a prolonged period where I had zero activity. So 4 months before my surgery and a few months post-surgery. So I had about 7 months where I didn't use my left side of my body whatsoever. I wasn't eating protein, wasn't training. I probably walked 100 steps a day, max. I didn't leave my home for that entire period. So you're not going to lose your muscle. You can cut, get lean, get healthy. And so that's what we did. And we cut until we were in what I would consider a favorable body fat percentage range, which for me, I would say around 10%. So a little bit leaner than I am currently bulking right now. So not as lean as I would want to be. If I was going to be moving into a push or a growth phase, I would get a little bit leaner. And so not a lot of people, and that's an often asked question though, is should I bulk, should I cut, should I do a body recomp? And so I would say if you're not in a favorable body fat percentage, your body's not healthy, your metabolism isn't high, you don't need to be going into a growth phase. And so we did that until I was in a favorable body fat percentage. From there, we did a few months of a very slight grow phase. So I increased my calories. I was in a slight surplus. Did that until I was in a less than favorable body fat percentage, moving up. It's another question that I hear often asked is when should we stop the bulk? Once your body fat percentage gets high. Sorry, we were letting the dogs out. bulking until you're at a less than desirable body fat percentage. So for me, 13% or so. Really, that's the beginning of the percentages where you would want to stop your bulk. You can push a little bit past that. So yeah, we did that, and then last minute I decided to prep for a show. So we did a 5-week prep, which I don't recommend doing at all, really ever, unless you're already super lean, which I wasn't. But yeah, it's pretty much how we did it. I'll go in depth on other videos about exactly what the cardio looked like, what the training looked like, what the diet looked like. Could break it all down. If that's something you guys are interested in, then stay tuned. And yeah, see you on the next one.